Now, our keynote speaker and also our good friend, Governor Eric Holcomb, will be receiving the Indiana Ratna Award. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our best governor in the state, in the country, Governor Eric Holcomb.
Well. Obviously, it should go without being said, but what an incredible honor, and made especially so because of you, Raju. Thank you for your friendship, but I'm equally reminded of my gratitude for you having this idea, you having this vision, and assembling the team around you, continuing to build upon it year after year, and for that perseverance, and now what a successful organization it is. And I know that you were onto that early on, but it is truly amazing where these relationships and friendships lead us, and how they lead us to one another. Martin, you introduced Abdul and said he was a man of many titles, and I concur. I've had a lot of titles for Abdul myself over the years. But Abdul, I think the most important title you could ever have is my mother's favorite. You suck up. You're doing something right. KP, my friend, my whisperer, you need to take a bow as well. You arrived here some 54 years ago. 54 years ago, KP arrived in the heart of the heartland here in Indiana, and was greeted by 5 Indian families that were living in this great state, and now we're over 10,000. So yet again, we are making progress. And it's truly a night like tonight where I've reconnected with so many people that I've met all over the state of Indiana and all over the globe for that matter. And to receive this exact award and what it means, the Indiana Ratna Award, is pretty darn special. And you can invitation to stop by my office at your convenience, and you will see it proudly displayed front and center. And it will be a source and a point of conversation that will lead to, I predict, more good things. I'm going to treasure it because of what it represents in its essence, and our teamwork, how we've gotten here together, all of our partnerships that have led to these successes that many of you and I have just discussed even tonight about where we are and where we're going. More importantly, it's also proud to be here with Consul General, with you again. I'm still working on the Consul General to move the consulate from Chicago to Indianapolis. That's that Hoosier hospitality that was mentioned earlier. Abdul and I could spend the next hour comparing Illinois to Indiana, but I won't go there. Also, it was mentioned a time or two about how I had been to India not once but twice. First Indiana governor to arrive on Indian soil. And someone once told me that there will only and always be one first. You can only one person can be first. And we know a lot about being fast and first in the state of Indiana. We know a lot about the pole position and how to get there and then how to stay there. But I did mention that while it was my first, it wouldn't be my last. And so that's where 2017 led into 2019. But I got to tell you, for a kid that grew up in Claremont, I mean, my parents, I was fortunate. My parents took my brother and me on a lot of trips, and we were able to be exposed to Independence Hall here in this country. Nothing really prepares you for the Taj Mahal, by the way, this perfect blend of art and science, and just the scale of everything that you're exposed to. It's sensory overload when you, for the first time, arrive anywhere in India. And I thought I was a pretty good driver. You've all been in Mumbai with 20 million other drivers, more clearly. Your eyes do get opened. But to think about just the experiences, I could spend a lot of time and I won't, but to think about visiting with Prime Minister Modi and sharing our love of sports. He said, Eric, I don't want to just be a nation known as a cricket nation. We want to be great in all sports. How can we work together? Or in ag bioscience, or the long list of our mutual and shared concerns about the next generation and the next generation. And again, back to that whole different scale. I got back in I wasn't driving, but I got back in our transportation, and someone said, did you just see Prime Minister Modi tweeted out about your great visit? And I said, no, obviously. And they said, but you don't understand this. He tweeted out to 60 million followers. Like 60 million individuals on planet Earth heard about it instantly. And to be able to, in Mumbai, see the first, again, common theme, the first ever NBA game played in India. The Pacers won both games, by the way. Beat the Sacramento Kings. Won in overtime. But and there was something about, maybe it was just me trying to conveniently hear this, but you could almost, I always say you can't even spell Indiana without starting with India. But you could almost hear the India Pacers, the cheering. And one arena was just packed full of elementary and middle school kids getting to see their first NBA game. And so these experiences are, of course, personal, and they're, they'll be with me forever, but it's always about what it leads to. And to be able to think about a state like Indiana punching way above its weight class, getting the attention, Richard, of emphasis, this global powerhouse of a company that seeks to just do good, right? To make things faster and safer and more efficient. And to be able to get their attention and to be able to be in the, by the way, largest democracy in the world, and to have these kind of conversations and develop these kind of friendships and to see what comes out of it, and to know that, Richard, I'm anxious and eager and chomping at the bit to cut the ribbon at the U.S. Education Center out at, they have taken what we would call in Indianapolis the old airport partial grounds, and they are developing a campus. If you've ever been to Bangalore or Mysore, these things are on a whole different scale themselves. And they will be bringing in people from just Indiana, but all over the place to skill up our companies. It's a pretty significant investment, and I would say I got more phone calls from other governors around the country saying, how did you do that? Right? And there's no shortcut. It's not maybe a quick flight to India or from India to Indiana. It's a long flight for a reason, and it means so much to think about the foundation that we continue to build on, these sister city relationships. You know, former Mayor Bart Peterson here in Indianapolis with Hyderabad and with Columbus and Pune. That's where, I mean, in Pune, I was just catching up with someone from Cummins in Pune, visiting their, again, world-class facility. We were introduced to an engineering project, actually, that was occurring simultaneously in different hemispheres. It was so symbolic of how small the world really is. In Pune, they were working on a project in America, in Indiana, in Columbus, Indiana, looking at the same project and watching it develop at the same time. Fascinating to have those kind of minds all focused on the same thing. Karnataka, I mean, we've got a very significant relationship with Karnataka, and we will renew and we will update our agreement with Karnataka. I'm looking forward to it later this year because we're going to be talking about adding in some extra mutually important subject matters to really work on together, like in the electrical vehicle space, pulling people together to work on the same issues that are important to people all over the world, and to be able to do, not just build in India or Indiana or ship from India or Indiana, but to be able to create the research and development phase before it ever gets to the engineering phase, before it ever gets to the production. And that's pretty special. Those bonds are bringing us together, and that has a direct impact in a positive way on not just our relationships, the P2P, or the B2B, the business to business, and the G to G, the government to government. It has, on that business front, a direct positive relationship on our imports and our exports, making sure that we're meeting the needs of the consumers of our state and India, this great nation and friend of ours. And so I will continue to, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation will continue to, over the next 3+ years, continue as the world gets spinning faster and faster, continue to try to make it smaller and smaller. And we'll do that in various ways, but one, and I would ask you to kind of, just in your mind, circle next spring, we'll host a global economic summit here in Indiana. We were in conversations with India and other nations around the world when COVID washed upon all of our shores. And we postponed that, and we're planning on doing that this next spring. And so I would invite you to attend that. Invitations will go out for sure, of course. But we're going to be talking about those issues that are important to us in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, so we arrive at a place that we all want to. So we got a lot of good to do between, of course, now and then, and I just want to thank you in advance for all that you're going to continue to do to help us get there, and for your friendship, and for this prestigious award. I've mentioned being first a couple times, and I know I'm the third recipient, so maybe I'll change that to the third time's a charm. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.